Hey everyone, I'm Nate Gustafson, the new location pastor for our third location, which will be launched this fall. And I got to tell you, I love being a part of this church. And I especially love House Church. Through my house church, it's been a gift to go deeper in conversation and community. And I love that we get to lift each other up in prayer and spur each other on to become more like Jesus. This week we kicked off our new series, The Authority of Jesus. And over the next 6 weeks, we will study 6 passages that uniquely demonstrate Jesus' authority over nature, darkness, sickness, and even death. On Sunday, we looked at Mark 4:35 through 41, where Jesus calms a storm that was literally sinking the disciples' boat. But I want to zero in on the very end of that story. After Jesus calms the storm and the sea turns to glass, Jesus says in verse 40, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this?" Even though the wind and the waves obey him. Did you catch that? The disciples' response to Jesus' incredible power was terror. And this is what we call a holy fear. It isn't the kind of fear that makes you run away from God. It's a deep awe and a reverence that causes you to surrender to him. It's a realization that God, who has the power over the storm, is the same God who is with you in the boat. So, how do we actually live in that holy fear when we're in the middle of a storm, like a scary diagnosis or a broken relationship or the crushing stress of work? Having faith doesn't mean your fears and anxiety cease to exist. It means you change how you respond to them. And I want to share a 3-step prayer plan: ready, release, and replace, that has profoundly impacted my journey with Jesus through life's storms. First, be ready. Be ready each day for the storms. In John 16:33, Jesus says, "I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." Jesus here is clear. Trouble's going to come. So we cannot be caught off guard when life gets difficult. I mean, a soldier isn't surprised when they get attacked on the battlefield. So we need to prayerfully prepare for the challenges that will come. Jesus is also clear. We can take heart, we can find courage because he's overcome and will walk us through. So each day we must prayerfully ready our hearts for the storms to come by praying something like, "God, prepare me for the storms that will come today. Give me your strength to respond with patience and wisdom." Then, when the storm hits, in prayer we, number 2, release. Release your earthly fears and emotions to Jesus. Too many Christians I talk to feel guilty for having earthly fears or negative thoughts. Don't be. You can't always control the first thought that hits your brain, but you can control where you take it. Follow the example of so many Psalms. Bring your raw, unfiltered emotions to Jesus. Tell him, "God, I'm terrified. I'll be alone." Or, "I'm scared. Our marriage won't make it." Laying it down is an act of trust. And as you name each one, say, "God, I release these thoughts and emotions into your powerful hands." Then, in prayer, you need to go to step 3, replace. Replace your earthly fears by filling your heart with God's truth. Replace "I'm alone" with "I know, God, you will never leave me." Replace "I'm not going to survive this" with "I will survive because I know, Jesus, you have overcome the world." This is where dwelling on God's word is critical, so it can guide our lives to God's light and hope. Most days, you will have to release and replace over and over again. But it isn't a defeat to have to continually pray. Because as you do, you will more and more immerse yourself in God's truth, and over time, your mind will be built around God's truth, and your heart and thoughts will be profoundly reshaped. Just imagine if every time a storm hit, you were ready, you released the panic, and you replaced it with God's truth. You will depend on Jesus' power to walk through the storm. It will transform your life. You would pray constantly as you immersed in God's presence and power, and you would find a peace that doesn't make sense to the rest of the world. Through this continual prayer, you will live in holy fear of Jesus, giving all things over to him and seeking his leadership for each moment. I'm praying for each house church this week. I hope you have a deep and meaningful conversation about where you need to invite Jesus' authority into your storms. Have a great discussion.